The Forever Diary changes completely the way you journal. Why? Because in a standard setup, you have one journal per year. Let's take this example. You go one for 2024, and in that one, you write your entries for every single day during the year. At the end of the year, you take that journal, you file it away, probably never to be seen again, and you start from scratch with next year's journal for 2025. And then the process repeats. But unfortunately, you very rarely get to reopen one of the previous journals. Unless you're looking for something very specific, you just don't stumble upon those memories. And if you've ever read one of your previous journals, or maybe if you've ever opened one of those photo books that we all seem to have at home, you know how nice it is to find those memories again and relive them. So the Forever Diary changes all of this by flipping the concept on its head. Instead of having one journal per year, you have one journal per day. And so you've got one for the 1st of January, one for the 2nd of January, one for the 3rd, and so on. 366 files, really. And in each one of them, you write your entries for every year. The bottom line is that you never have to file that thing, because at least once a year, you will have to open it to insert a new entry for this year. So at least once a year, you get to see all of the things you've done on that specific day, and you get to relive your memories. And it's an incredible thing, and I can promise you, the more you do it, the more entry you put in, the better and more valuable this thing becomes. Of course, it is very private. You can even lock those pages. But at the opposite end of the spectrum, you could even make it a collaborative thing with your family. Maybe you have your spouse or your kids writing parts of the entries. And this thing could become, across the years, an intergenerational thing that you can pass on to the next generations. It will become your family history. But without going that much in the future, let's get back to what we can do today. And the setup of the Forever Diary is extremely simple. All you have to do is to create 366 files, one per day, which you can then split across 12 folders, one per month, just for better organization. And by the way, this is a bit of a tedious process that you can simplify using the automation I've created, which you can download for free. Check the description below to discover how. That will create all of the files for you, which I'm going to demonstrate in a second. When you run the automation, it will create these 366 files for you. It will move them across. It'll take a few seconds, of course, because there are lots of things to create, and Apple shortcuts are not that fast. But then you will take those files and move them to the relevant months folder, which again will correspond to the 01 January, 02 February, 03 March naming convention. And at the end of the process, the only thing you may want to do is to move those months into your Forever Diary folder. And then you start writing. So you pick one page that you want to write entries about. It doesn't even have to be today. It could be any day. Let's say you want to pick the 22nd of July. So you go to the relevant folder, you open the folder for July, you open the 22nd of July, and then you start writing stuff. So you may have an entry for 2024. And as you can see, I always start my entries with the year, followed by the day, and followed by the location I'm at. And then you can write what you've done during that day. You may add photos if you want, directly from your phone or from your computer, and you write anything that belongs to 2024. And then you can go back with your memories and write something about 2023, for example. And if you have more things that you want to add, more things that you remember, you can add stuff, maybe for 2011. Let's say this is the day where you met your spouse. So at important days, and you can write down that you bumped into this girl and she was very upset, but then in the end, she gave you her number. The rest of it is history. Maybe you go down to 2009, where you got offered a job as chief scientist at Pizza Labs. All of this is fake, by the way, it's just demo example data. And you can keep adding things as soon as you remember them. It doesn't matter. Whatever comes to your mind, if you remember the day and the year, that's all you need. You go in and write these entries. By the way, I'm going to give you another couple of suggestions. The first one, to make your navigation easier, is to create links that point to the previous and the following day. I find this very, very useful and convenient. You only have to do it once. And to do it, you go in, you type a couple of greater than signs, and you start typing the letters of the previous entry. So in this case, it will be the 21st of July. And you pick the link to that page. And then I normally add a dash, and I repeat the process, greater than signs, and 23rd of July, so that now I have some basic navigation across my notes. Now, this is something that unfortunately cannot be automated, so my suggestion is that every time you open a new page, you do this by default. So the first thing you do is to create your navigation, and then you go on and write your entry. You can, of course, go back to this note not just to add new entries, but also to update existing ones. So let's say, for example, at some point while browsing through your old documents at home, you find the original message that girl wrote to you with her phone number, this one, and you want to add it to your Apple Notes. This is really simple. You go to the place where you want to add it, you go to the top menu, this is on a Mac, by the way, but similar thing can happen on the iPhone. Go to the top menu, say that you want to add that you want to scan a document from your phone, and then you place this post-it on the table, and you progress with your phone and you scan it. And once you've scanned it, it's immediately inserted in the note. So this thing you're never gonna lose again. And of course, there are a few things you can do with this scanned document. As you can see, it's very big, so you can right-click and choose to show it as a small or medium image. You can also rename it, so it's not called scanned document, but something a bit more meaningful, such as Jenny gave me her number or whatever. And if you make it small, and by the way, the same thing can happen with photos. If you want to see that in full size, you just click on it once, and then you, if you're on a Mac, you press the space bar to see the preview, and you will see it full size. And then you can continue pretty much every time you have a conversation with a friend, every time you find something at home that reminds you of a memory, you can go in, open the relevant page, and write down whatever you want. Add photos, add recording, scan documents, do whatever you want to enrich your notes. And by the way, you can even add headers to your notes to make them more beautiful. If you want to know more about how to create headers and dividers, and in general make your notes more beautiful, have a look at this video. For now though, thank you very much for watching and happy journaling.